You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's This Is How I Made It After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's This Is How I Made It After Show.
Hey, welcome. Bingus for doing, and I just did. My name's Thomas.
You done did it.
Done over.
I'm Kendra. Yeah.
And
in it to win it, Nigel McGuinness.
Awesome. Well, again, welcome to This Is How I Made It AFTERBUZZ Recap Show, Season 1, Episode 4. Wow, you know, I must say that this show is getting better each time I watch it. Like,
is.
I feel like the way they're editing and putting the entire season together,
Yeah.
you can tell they're kind of getting their calling and really following through with everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like they're learning from each previous episode, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And you know, today's was pretty awesome. Like Tyler Posey and Meek Mills. I can't even talk right now.
They're all done, though. They're all in the can, right? It's not like they do one and then do another one, correct?
I think they're all in the...
confident about that.
Yeah, they shoot them all way in advance, and they're all in the can, and I think they save the best ones for last so that you get built and built and built and bult, right?
That's true. And then they just... And probably the editing, too, is coming more together. You know,
I
as
think
long...
it's pretty recent, though.
Because it looked like that one... When they had the scene with Tyler Posey and he's on Sunset, wasn't that was shot relatively soon, right?
With us mentioned it was very recent.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris Brown was post
The
tattoo, which kind of
Tattoo
gave
gate.
it away. Yeah. So it's all pretty recent, not necessarily, you know, that far back.
Right, but they don't do a show and go, oh, next week we're going to try and do it in a different
Yeah.
program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There may be a couple, like maybe the last couple that they haven't done yet, but I think you're right. They probably do have most of it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's pretty interesting. Like, you know, Tyler Posey, you know, another Southern California native, born in Santa Monica, grew up in Santa Clarita, went to high school there. I mean, pretty interesting. And he had a similar problem as Naya Rivera.
Yeah.
Like being typecast in the role because his mom's Hispanic and his dad's a mixture of backgrounds, and he always was typecast for that one role, and that was something he had to overcome, which he actually finally did. It's pretty amazing that
He kind of said it wasn't in a negative way. I don't know if he was just kind of covering up for his journey, but you know, he seemed to be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he made lots of money. He had a career before he was that Teen Wolf anyway, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Most people are typecast, I think, you know. You look at any great actors, I think, and most of them have a specific sort of stereotype that they play, whoever it is,
And
De Niro or...
it doesn't have to be ethnicity
yeah,
related
right.
or anything.
Yeah,
right?
I mean...
And if you watch This Is How I Made It This Week show, he looks different in every damn picture. Like, he doesn't even look like the same person.
Good-looking guy, though, right?
Yeah, definitely so.
Yeah.
And he looks more like his dad the older he's grown. And when he
getting-
was younger,
Right.
he looked a lot like his mother. Like, you could see the facial resemblance with his mother.
Yeah,
There's Santa
yeah.
Clarita, which is where he grew up. That's his dad. And he looks a lot, not identical, but a lot more like his dad.
Yeah, you can
Who's
see that.
a working
If he was
actor.
on Hot or Not, how many points out of 100 would he
Oh
get?
my gosh. Who, me?
Yeah. Well, Thomas, you can go next, mate.
Out of 100?
Out of 100.
I've never even played that game. So
Just rate
do out of
him
10.
out
You
of
do out of 10.
100.
Out
Oh
of
my
10.
God, this is like pulling teeth.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Oh, boo.
Can we revisit?
Marissa? How many? How many?
See, she doesn't.
I wouldn't know.
Exactly.
Oh.
See?
He's definitely in the 90s. I would say 92.
93.
Wow.
Yeah, 93.
Definitely in the come on, 90s, easy, right?
See, like right there, he doesn't look
good-looking guy.
anything like he's just changed so much. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a really interesting story just growing up here, and he kind of grew up in the business. Like, there's a picture of his dad, with celebrities, and he's with his dad. And just, I guess that's kind of, his dad always pushed for him to work in the entertainment industry. Maybe not push, maybe that's incorrect to say, but definitely supported him in his endeavors. And I think it shows, like, those words of encouragement definitely.
Well, let me ask you this: if his dad hadn't been a working actor, do you think he'd have been as successful?
It would have been probably more. I don't know. Go. You answer first.
Oh, I was just gonna say I don't think he would have been interested in it.
No.
It seemed like he was more affected and inspired to do it because his dad was.
Right.
in
His
it.
dad was definitely a big inspiration, but I
Yeah.
mean, plenty of people are inspired by other people.
I think that he definitely. Apparently, I'm not close enough to my mic, so I'm gonna fix that. Sorry, Murray. But so no, I think that's a very good point. He probably would have been inspired to do it, but he may not have had that coaching that his father had offered. Because in the end, it's all about being discovered. And you have the same chance of being discovered, but that coaching and the environments his dad may have encouraged him to work in, I think slowly pushed him.
There was no way at 6 years old, without his dad being an actor, he was going to, say bitch, whatever it was.
Yeah, he brought that up,
That's the
having problems with that. Like,
Yeah.
he really didn't want it. It was a really strong PSA. Tyler was in a PSA about,
What
like
was it for?
It was abuse between domestic violence,
Yeah.
and basically he was with
Oh,
the other actress, and he was cussing her out like
because
the
he
dad would
learned
cuss
it
out the
from
mom.
his dad.
Well, in the part, not in real life, but in that.
No, right.
And for him to do that says a lot about his background and his parents.
Yeah.
Definitely trying to encourage him to be very respectful. And
I didn't realise that was what it was about.
that is really
That's
strong
fantastic.
PSA.
What other things might he have heard from his dad?
Well, no, his dad's the one that told him to definitely.
No, in the PSA, you know what I mean, instead of bitch.
Oh, I mean, they were fighting. They were like throwing
Well,
things.
Yeah,
and-
it was a setup where the kids were mimicking what they.
Yeah, like.
Yeah. Wait, you mean what else? Oh, well, I'm not gonna go into.
Can't
that.
imagine, right?
We'll leave that alone.
Yeah.
Next week, tune in.
Right.
But
But I think I don't know. I feel like I didn't think he would have been. Well, we won't know. But in some parallel universe, if he didn't want to be an actor, because he seems so into wanting to be normal and having that normal
phase,
high
yeah.
school. Yeah.
What do you have, 2 years at high school, something like that?
I think about 2, because he said he wanted the high school experience. He heard great things about. Again, we're talking about Tyler. He heard great things about high school. He wanted to be a part of that experience. Then he said it's drama. It's a bunch of BS, and I think he clept out of stuff and graduated. So it sounded like.
I think what it was he realised that like there were hundreds of girls in high school he could sleep with, and he wasn't going to sleep with them unless he went to high school. So he went to high school, slept with them all, got bored of it, and said, "Right, now back to acting."
That could definitely.
That's clearly what happened.
Terrible.
That could be it. He got whatever it was. He got tired of it, and he was ready to move on. And he said it was always career centered. Like that was something that was a big part of him, which shows a lot of the people that have made it. Like they are very career-centered people, and they're willing to give that extra mile. Again, maybe his dad in this case pushed him, but I think there's something within him that he's like, I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna keep pushing. So, I mean, yeah, definitely very interesting. Like,
Yeah.
grew up right here, grew up in Southern California.
If you had to guess, how old is he now?
I don't.
20 something, right? 20.
Yeah,
20
early
something.
20s,
Early 20s.
probably,
Early 20s.
yeah.
If you had to guess how many girls he'd slept with by now,
I'd rather
give me a
not say.
number. Give me a number.
I'd rather not say that. I don't
Come
know.
on!
What do you
Why
think?
does no one put themselves out there? I'm going to have to say every bit of 300. Every bit of 300.
Me, interesting. I don't know. Tweet us. Let us know what you think.
Deal breaker, Kendra, deal breaker or not? You meet him, you get on well, you
my
have a fantastic
gosh.
thing. You find out it's
Where's the
300.
change of topic sound?
No,
effect?
this is a great, fantastic topic. I think it's very interesting.
Well, speaking of topics and commenting on topics, we have a new thing called After Blogs that you can blog at AfterBuzz TV. Thank you very much. Boardwalk Empire is one show, and there's a couple of others, but you can definitely go on, and if you're like definitely more intrigued about conversations that necessarily we bring up or other hosts, you can go on AfterBuzz TV, /AfterBlogs, and there's definitely commentators that are updating things because again, we are super fans of all of the shows here at AfterBuzz TV. Because you guys are as well, and we're definitely. If you guys have anything you want to share, please share it with us. You can tweet me at Thomas Guide,
I'm at Kendra Kabasele.
and tweet. And what is your Twitter handle?
At McGuinness Nigel.
At McGuinness Nigel. Yeah, so
telling
definitely this is something new because we're definitely a new media platform, and we want to get you guys as involved as possible because we're in it for you guys as well. I mean,
But let us know. Like, if you want to stop me talking about sex, tell me that. If you want to hear more of it and make these people squirm,
yes, you
tell
can
us that
tweet
as well.
Yeah,
Or
only
text.
tweet him.
or text. I wish we had that text number. We could totally do it. But I mean, I definitely think like then we go over to Meek Mill's, and like his upbringing was like completely different. He never had the chance for his father to encourage him to go. It's a really sad story. His father was gunned down in South Philadelphia. I think when he was like 6 years old or younger. And so he knew his father for a very limited amount of time, and they never even found the murderer. I mean, that's a really hard thing for a child to grow up. So in ways, he had to be the man of the house. Like, I'm sure his mother did as much as she could, but he definitely had to step into some shoes to kind of help out because the other parent wasn't there. And
which sadly is the story of many people,
well, that's
up in difficult neighborhoods.
Exactly.
Do you think when they have these two people on here now, and I just thought about this now, that the reason they have them on at the same time is because they contrast each other? Obviously, one was very inspired by his father, who was there his whole life, and the other one didn't have it. Do you think that's why they're setting it up like that, maybe?
I think they did to kind of show both, just to show like more of an encouragement and then more of the adversity, just to kind of show. Like, I mean, so it completely different, and just the way they're interviewed. We were talking about this earlier, Kendra, right before we got on. Their backgrounds were interviewed. His looks like a barn almost, or maybe like a soundstage. Yeah. Kind of like a production-y, or maybe a rural atmosphere.
Right.
Maybe
stripped down, kind of.
Right, you get that, and then Meek. I mean, he was interviewed, in a it looked like a jail cell setup.
The hallway of a jail cell, yeah.
And Meek went to he said he got arrested because he got caught with a gun, but he said in South Philly, his reasoning. I'm not necessarily saying this is the best thing to do, but his reasoning was like, you have to take care of yourself, and it was definitely scary times when he was growing up. So it's just interesting, like you brought this up, because I think they did set it up on purpose to kind of show two contrasts and just the way they interviewed and set those up.
And that's probably on purpose too, to kind of evoke these emotions in the interview, so it's not just like a regular
just like a green screen.
Yeah, I think being in the jail, he kind of probably felt more,
And it didn't make sense at first, and then when he started talking about his background, it was like, oh, well, now this makes sense, and it kind of made you identify, or made me identify with him. What's your thoughts, Nigel?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't identify him because I never been arrested or shot anybody or rapped with anybody. But I think, like you said, I think it inspires them. It puts them in the situation where they maybe speak more honestly from where they are. I thought the episode was very. I don't want to say necessarily inspiring, but there were a couple of moments where I learned something, where I took something out of it. A lot of times when I watched this show in the past, sometimes I go, it's kind of superficial, you know what I mean? It's just like, I had a dream, and I worked really hard, and I believed in myself, and I made it. Dun, 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 dun. But there were a couple of times today, the one thing that really got me with Tyler was when he talked about getting only one out of every 3,000 auditions that he goes to. And I've just started going to auditions now.
You just went on one, too. Talk about that.
Oh, rotten. Absolutely rotten. Terrible. I didn't realise I was a bad actor. Honestly, I used to be a wrestler. Well, I suppose that's a giveaway, isn't it, right? Nothing wrestling is bad acting. But I did quite well at that, I thought, But acting being something categorically different than who you are. For example, like, if you wanted to play a misogynist or something like that, and you genuinely weren't a misogynist, far more difficult than if you were a Christian and had to play a Christian. So I mean, it's very, very different. But I think that was a great advice, to just understand that it's just a numbers game. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. You keep going. And that's something I took out of it. And then from Meek Mill, God, what was it? I think it was something about just what did you mention about the 20 bodies outside in Philadelphia, South Philly, in one day that you saw? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of, and he talked about the gun as well. It's very easy for us. I don't know about you guys. I came from a very middle class, safe, secure upbringing. So I had a very good place to pursue my dreams from. And I can't imagine what it must have been like to literally be worried about your life every time you stepped outside.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a middle class community, but I grew up on the border of Texas and Mexico, so you always could see poverty firsthand. And I mean, yeah, there's definitely things that my sister and I, we would see. Sometimes we're like, wow, I can't believe we just saw that.
Is there a lot of gang violence there?
Now it's like really dangerous in Mexico, not necessarily in Texas, but yeah, I mean, it's it's definitely going through a really not so great phase. But I think seeing that does make you Again, I didn't live in a neighborhood with that, so I think it's different living in a neighborhood versus like we would go across and go hang out to the market and stuff like that. So you could always leave and go home. So it's very different than like living in that day in and day out. But I think that's a very good point. Just seeing that, it kind of does touch, because it's like, wow, there was things growing up you would see like, wow, that's pretty crazy that where we lived we saw, because we're so close to a different country and it's two extremes, wealthy and poverty. this guy lived in it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Meek actually had to live in that and survive. He had to survive, and he kind of is a survivor in a way. And he admitted he made his mistakes. Like, he definitely did, but he.
How does it make you feel as an American, and arguably as not of the upper class, but you certainly had a very safe and secure upbringing?
Definitely.
When you see stuff like that, do you feel like, wow, this is kind of unfair? Like, I think it's tremendously unfair that someone should spend the majority of their life and lose their father when they're 7 years old, right?
No, definitely. I mean, it's
But do you feel like something needs to change? This is categorically wrong, or do you just go, well, that's just the way it is? How do you feel?
I think it definitely needs to change. I mean, in my opinion, yeah, I do think things definitely need to change.
Well,
I
here we
think
are
that-
with Obama, right?
Mhm.
Now back in.
True.
Did you vote?
I did vote. I voted absentee ballot. Like, I actually voted like probably like a couple weeks before the
The
election.
thing I find, and now you're from Canada, right?
Yeah, but I voted. I'm a dual citizen.
Oh, you are.
Yay,
right?
congrats.
All right.
Did you vote too? Can you vote?
I know. I'm
No
not,
high five
I'm
for-
not allowed.
just joking.
No, I'm not allowed. But
He put a piece of paper in there.
but it amazes me because in England, you know, we talk about politics a lot. We talk about religion a lot. It's very easy to have that sort of discussion. But before the show today, we were talking about. You were saying how you should just keep it to yourself, and I think that it's really a lightning rod in America, religion and politics.
Oh, very.
Like for me to ask you who you voted for.
I don't know if I would say.
Exactly.
I-
that is
It's
absurd.
Yeah.
I no. The
cannot
only reason
believe
I
that.
wouldn't say is because
It starts.
I
the
don't feel this
whole-
is a platform for me to express that.
Oh, right.
But one-on-one, because to me, my political belief is my personal political belief, which is very different. We're totally getting off topic. But but yeah. But so anyway. But like, I would say it's just something that, you know, is something very personal. And but to get back to the initial question, you know, about like, you know, the situation Meek Mills grew up in.
Yeah.
I do think there does need to be things that change, and like, I hope definitely things do start improving, because it is sad when someone grows up in a neighborhood where their father's gunned down and they see 20 bodies. Like, that is really sad. And then, you know, you go 4 miles away and it's completely different. And I do think like that's a positive thing about this, is how I made it, in the sense like we saw this guy who made it out of there, and it wasn't easy, and he admitted to making plenty of mistakes. He really did. He was very forthcoming on something. You know, I'm sure some things were left out, but he was very forthcoming for
Yeah.
most part. And just when you look at Meek, like, wow, just like, you know, he even said rapping. He cried when he lost his first like rap off. Did you notice that?
Yeah,
It
I
kind
did
of
sort of.
showed he was, you know, a normal.
Wasn't there so
little
much
boy.
aggression? Did you see those when they were like everyone was like, "Urgh," like
I,
they're
I
back off?
didn't feel that actually.
You didn't?
No.
No, I think it was
Oh
just
my
it was just
God.
it's just
Faces, it was
like a face off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
but
a
you
cipher
didn't
where
you didn't
just
feel any aggression there.
No.
Really?
No,
It's
yeah.
understood that it's an MC battle and you leave it there.
Can you
usually,
rap?
Normally. Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Really? Give us a
Wow.
rap. Give us.
You
Come
can?
on.
I'm playing,
You guys,
playing.
rap off.
No,
Rap
I
off.
was-
Rap
I can't.
off.
No, I can't.
Rap battle. Come on.
I'm kidding, but if I put my mind to it, I'm just saying I
A-team,
didn't see any
A-team.
aggression there.
Not at all. I honestly just got. That's exactly what it was like. It was kind of like a little face off, like rap off, like, because if you're gonna go and rap and like try to you know the term, like, you're gonna school somebody, you need to be about it, and you need to like have that mindset.
Right.
Because if you're just gonna be like, yeah, whatever, then you're not gonna bring your A game.
It's like
it's a
Muhammad
performance.
Ali used to do. It's like it's a psychological.
No. Very
Really?
different. Very
I-
different.
No,
Very
it's
different.
the same confidence you have to bring into it. It's not well, in that scene I didn't think it was aggressive. It was more like playing with the opponent's mind so that they're gonna fail.
Because you
on
want to
stage.
make them weak.
Yeah.
You got to. You see what this is what tell me if I'm wrong, but you know, right there, it's like you're sizing up your opponent and you're finding their weaknesses.
Yeah.
And so as you're going, as you're rapping, you're watching them, and if you see you hit something, that next round you're gonna go back and you're just gonna start.
Yeah, it
attacking
gives you
more and
confidence
more.
to come up with better lyrics the next time. You know, it's
And they have to
it's a
think on their
game.
feet, which is
Yeah.
really difficult. Like have you ever rapped or like sang like just kind of like on your feet, like
Sorry.
yeah, it's
He's-
no.
he's-
Oh,
that's
it's-
his answer.
yeah.
For
it-
the people who can't hear, he's grimacing at.
That is not a
Thomas.
grimace. Where did you go to school? Shame on you. You're not a Canadian.
I said-
Grimace.
You know what
That's
I
a
mean.
grimace.
Well, that's what you were doing.
I was not.
But yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with that. It's just like, you know, he cried and he went back and he's like, I got to work harder. I really got to get. And like Rick Ross was a big motivation to him. And like, you know, he mentioned how like he saw the man work and he's like, he's a rich man. And if I forgot the exact quote, but he's like, if a rich man is going to work that hard, a poor man's going to work harder, you know, and
Yeah.
he just. But again, growing up in that poverty and then seeing the wealth, he's like, if I'm going to be up here, I got to work up here.
Well, and see that, yeah, and that's interesting. It's because of where he comes from. I think that's his perspective. I would have wanted the interviewers to also ask him how he feels about the whole process, because I feel
do you mean?
it was more just about money and, black and white, not like I'm doing this for the passion. I want to, excel at my craft or anything. It was just kind of like, oh, well, a rich man is still working.
That's a very, very good
know
point.
what I mean?
Really interesting, like how big a part that is.
I think that's what he thought. I think maybe in his mind, like that was his ticket to out of that. To be honest with you, maybe he's like, if I can do this.
So it was money.
I understand it because of where he came from, but I also want to know that now he's feeling like, no, I'm doing it for the passion. Because he said if a rich man is still working, like,
Very
hey,
good.
I have to still work. Like, a lot of people think once you get the money, okay, I'm going to just sit back and
just spend it.
Yeah, right.
Well, let me ask you, if he could have got all that fame and repped and inspired all those people, but made $8 an hour to do it, you think he'd have done it? You think he'd have been as inspired?
If he could.
I think if he put food, I think I mean I can't speak for him. I mean, go ahead and tweet us, Meek. But like, but if I'm being serious, like, but if you,
no, I know.
I honestly would, I would say like to put food on the table, because he even said, he's like, when I started rapping and making the money, he probably wasn't making very much at the beginning. Just like anything, when you start out, like he realized he was a target because he was playing money and other people started noticing his neighborhood. And then he said in South Philly, when you have money and others don't, you're a target and people come after you. So that was a completely different like answer to a question, but I would answer you yes, based on what he said there. He would have done it if it would have brought some money in, to be honest with you, because he in his way was using a skill or a talent that he has. He was able to bring some money in.
Right.
And then the
question of money is a question of how much money.
I think he would have done it even if it was for a little bit. He was also
for
a kid though
while,
too.
But
Yeah.
I think his eyes were on the prize of like Rick Ross money or Jay-Z money.
Speaking of, can you pull up Marissa, I'm a Boss? Awesome. We're gonna go ahead and get that for you
Look at
guys.
you with your Rick Ross.
Do what I can. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Any other thoughts? What do you guys? I don't know if you guys can hear that right now. This is I'm a Boss. This is like one of his big. This is the biggest song that's got him.
Because when I heard it, I was like, oh, I know. I just didn't know him by name before we saw the show. But it's inspiring because when an established artist comes back into some small little neighborhood in Philly to help him out, that's huge for an artist coming up.
Well, what did you think too when he talked about the music video? He said it was amazing to be in South Philly shooting the streets I grew up in, the neighborhood I grew up in, and he's like, and this makes a lot of sense. A lot of times, like he mentioned rap videos like are shot in neighborhoods you grew up in, and it's all thank you very much, Marissa, and it's all people you grew up around. And he said it was pretty neat to be able to bring that like
full circle.
Yeah, that full circle and that inspiration, and it kind of tells people, hey, there's hope. Like, did you pick up on that, you guys?
Oh yeah, I love that too.
I guess so. I mean, I don't know.
So
I mean, people get inspiration from where they find it, I suppose. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to be able to go back there from where you started from. But I still have that feeling that when you watch this, you've got so many people around the world and around the country now watching this, going, "Oh, I can do this. I can do this." And for every one of those Meek Mills, he came up with probably 3 or 4 people who haven't made it.
Which he said. He did say 1%. 1% of Philadelphia, make it out. And he's like, and I'm happy to be one of the 1%.
And I was wondering what happened to Done Did It.
He done did it.
Right.
Done over.
Was his inspiration, as he said. He doesn't even think Done Did It knew that. If Done Did It is out there, have him tweet us, because I'd like to know. I'd like to know what he's doing for him to inspire someone who's actually, kind of in the eye.
Right. Are you wearing knuckle dusters? What is that on your hand? It seems like a mini knuckle dusters.
It's a ring.
It is? It's on 2 fingers though.
Yeah, it's a 2-finger ring. Not that I know we're getting off topic.
That's awesome. But I don't know. I mean, any other thought? I'm trying to think. Like, I definitely, like we said earlier, like I definitely like this week's episode, and I definitely think maybe it's just being a fan of the show. The more you watch it, the more you get into it, and the more you kind of you what I love about it is it shows people and what they've done and what MTV's done. If they've put 2 artists, whether it be music, whether it be actors or actresses, 2 completely different backgrounds, and I love how they pair them up in each episode. And for me as a viewer, like I love to be able to find some aspect out of their life to be like, I kind of understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows that, living in completely different parts of the country, that I'm like, you overcame that. That's pretty interesting. So it's like there's a chance that I can overcome that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chance that, a friend of mine that, that dances, they can overcome that. That doesn't necessarily mean they will, but it gives you that hope. And I think, and that's one thing I love about this show.
Yeah. It gives you that little push.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because the demographic that's watching is what age group probably?
Well, it's MTV, so it's going to be probably what, like
18,
12 to
or, yeah.
24 is
Oh,
what I would
really?
guess.
That's pretty
That's what I
big
was
gap.
assuming.
There's
That's
young
on private.
kids watching it, yeah.
Probably like early 20s to,
Yeah.
I'd say to 12. I would say probably 15, but it reaches down to probably 12, 13.
Okay.
Anything that's a good inspiration, makes
Mm-hmm.
people want to like try hard and not shoot people and do drugs is a good thing, right?
No, totally,
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, it's a good contrast to some of the other shows that are out there for
Right?
for
Do you see
kids
like
to-
Jersey Shore? Is that? Do you think that has a negative effect on kids?
I don't watch it, so I don't know.
I actually don't watch Jersey Shore either. I've seen it a couple times, but it's
yeah.
I look at it as entertainment value, but yeah. I don't know. Do you have any comments, Marissa? Anything about
Do you watch Jersey Shore?
I do not watch Jersey Shore.
What about
No.
this week's guest on This Is How I Made It? What are your comments on?
I haven't watched. I don't really know any of these characters, but it looks like Tyler Posey.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize he was the kid in Made in
In Made in
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Oh,
and
really?
Also in Teen
Yeah,
Wolf.
that's what.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
What did you think? Well, if you get a chance, check it out. Like, he even said it was pretty neat when he saw when he got the call
Mm-hmm.
that his billboard was up. Like, he actually he took his mom and one of his best friends, or his best friend, and they went to go, and there's a picture of him taking a picture of it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty neat. It shows
That
just
was
how
cool.
humble he was. And
I wondered that if you see billboards around, like, does Jennifer Aniston still do that? Do established? No, maybe in like
I
Paris,
wonder.
if they see themselves.
case by
they
case,
must
I bet.
still have some sort of like feeling of
Maybe it's a sign of
accomplishment,
relief. Like, I'm still out there. Like, I'm still relevant. Maybe it's more of that. Like, that's
be a
good.
good
It's still
point.
up there, right?
Possibly.
Once you've got to that level, then maybe you're constantly trying to stay there.
And that's one
Right.
thing too. Like, for those of you that don't live in the Los Angeles area, and I don't know if it's like this, where you grew up or in Canada, but it was very interesting moving here, like 5-6 years ago, and noticing billboards for movies for actors and actresses everywhere, because this is entertainment capital of the world. It's in most cities you'll maybe see a billboard for a movie, or maybe once a year, a couple times a year. It's very rare, but here you see them everywhere, and so it's very interesting to be a part of that whole mix and just visually being able to see that.
Yeah.
And that's what I like, that he actually it
Like, he
resonated with him.
appreciated that. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anything else you guys want to? No.
Sorry. Oh, was Marissa finished? Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, that does it this week, for This Is How I Made It. My name's Thomas. You can play with my Twitter or Twidazzle me at ThomasGuide, TomasGuide.
At Kendra Kabasele, KendraKabasele.
At McGuinness Nigel, and I'll have a documentary coming out very soon. So
Oh, yeah, tell us about it real
stay
fast.
tuned. My retirement tour from professional wrestling, Last of McGuinness. Stay tuned. Next week we'll talk more about it.
Got it. And don't forget to check us out, AfterBuzzTV.com. Please download us. Just
On
be sure to check.
iTunes.
Yeah, on iTunes. Be sure to check it out. And also AfterBlogs, AfterBuzzTV.com/AfterBlogs. Thank you guys so much. And ladies, too.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Oh yeah.
Buzz you later. Happy birthday,
and
Phil.
Happy birthday, Phil.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.